The Sun is the closest star to Earth, and without it, life as we know it would be impossible. The Sun provides us with light and heat, which allows plants to grow and provides energy to animals and humans. But what would happen if the Sun disappeared, and we were suddenly left in darkness? In this video, we'll explore the catastrophic events that would occur if the Sun were to vanish from our solar system. The Sun is the primary source of light for Earth, providing the energy necessary for photosynthesis and powering the planet's weather and climate systems. Without sunlight, all plants and trees would eventually die, and many animals that depend on them would not survive for long. In terms of human activity, a loss of sunlight would mean the end of electricity production via solar panels, and the subsequent failure of many electronic devices. The world would quite literally be thrust into darkness. The Sun is massive, so much so that it contains roughly 99% of the total mass in our solar system. It's around 109 times larger than the Earth, and its surface area is over 11,900 times greater. This means that even though the Earth is just a small speck in comparison, it's still incredibly reliant on the Sun for life. If the Sun were to disappear, the impact would be felt across the entire planet. Without sunlight, the Earth's surface temperature would quickly plummet. The side facing the Sun would cool down rapidly as heat radiated away and wouldn't be replenished. Conversely, the dark side of the Earth would cool much more slowly, since it would not be able to radiate heat away as quickly. This would lead to extreme temperature differences across the planet, creating massive weather patterns and disastrous storms. Most living organisms on the planet would die off quickly due to the lack of warmth and light, essentially resulting in an immediate apocalypse. Photosynthesis is the process by which plants, algae, and some bacteria use sunlight to create food. This process is the foundation of life on Earth, as it produces the oxygen that we breathe and is the primary source of energy for all living things. Without photosynthesis, all life on Earth would perish, leaving the planet barren and desolate. The Sun's energy is essential to this process since it provides the light necessary for photosynthesis to occur. All living things, including humans, are dependent on photosynthesis for survival. Plants are the primary producers in food chains, meaning that they provide the energy that flows through all other living organisms, from herbivores to carnivores. Without the buildup of energy provided by photosynthesis, life on Earth would not exist as we know it. The disappearance of the Sun would cause the Earth's climate to cool off, resulting in a catastrophic drop in photosynthetic activity, eventually leading to the death of all creatures who depend on it for sustenance. The disappearance of photosynthesis would have a domino effect on all forms of life on Earth. As the primary producers of the food chain die off, herbivores would lose their source of food, and carnivores would lose theirs in turn. Eventually, all but the most adaptable and resilient creatures would die off. The effects would be felt across the entire planet, from the depths of the ocean to the highest mountain peaks. The planet's ecosystem would collapse, turning what was once a vibrant and thriving world into a barren and lifeless wasteland. The Sun is a massive ball of gas that produces an enormous amount of heat and radiation, which is responsible for keeping the Earth warm. Without the Sun, the planet would quickly cool down, resulting in the eventual freezing of all the water on the planet. This would also result in the depletion of the Earth's atmosphere since the gases that make up the air would freeze and fall to the surface as snow and ice, making the planet even colder. The disappearance of the Sun would have immediate and drastic effects on the Earth's climate. The surface temperature of the planet would begin to drop rapidly, and the atmosphere would start to freeze and fall to the surface as snow. As the planet cooled, massive storms would rage across the planet, producing frigid winds and snow almost everywhere. Eventually, the entire planet would freeze over, and the few remaining survivors would be forced to adapt or face certain death. If the Earth were to freeze over entirely, the planet would become entirely uninhabitable. Most life on Earth relies on liquid water to survive, and if the water froze, the creatures that rely on it would die off entirely. As the temperatures plunged further, all of the gases that make up our atmosphere would also freeze into solids, causing the planet to lose its air entirely. Essentially, a frozen Earth would be a barren and lifeless rock floating through space. The Sun's gravity is what holds the Earth and the other planets in our solar system in their orbits. Without this gravitational force, the planets would simply fly off into space in a straight line. However, the mass of the Sun creates a gravitational pull that keeps the planets in check, causing them to orbit around it. The Sun's gravity is in balance with the momentum of the planets, which is what keeps everything in motion. If the Sun were to disappear, the Earth would be suddenly devoid of the force that was keeping it in orbit. The planet would continue moving in a straight line at its current speed, which is around 67,000 miles per hour. As the Earth moves away from the Sun's former position, it would be affected by the gravity of other planets in our solar system, such as Jupiter, which would alter its trajectory further. Eventually, the Earth could collide with another planet or be hurled out of the solar system entirely. A disrupted orbit would have long-term consequences for the Earth and all life on it. If the planet were hurled out of the solar system, it would be cast into a dark and frigid void, where life as we know it would be impossible. However, if the planet collided with another object in the solar system, such as Mars or Jupiter, the impact would be catastrophic. The collision would cause a massive explosion, and the resulting debris would be sent hurtling out into space, potentially colliding with other planets and wreaking havoc across the solar system. Without the Sun's gravitational pull to keep it in orbit, the Earth would be at the mercy of the gravitational forces of other planets in our solar system. It's possible that the planet could be flung out of the solar system entirely, into the dark and frigid void of space. The lack of sunlight and extreme cold temperatures would make it impossible for life as we know it to survive. The planet would be alone in the vast expanse of space, wandering aimlessly until it collided with another object or was consumed by a black hole. If the Earth were to collide with another planet or asteroid, the impact would be catastrophic. The force of the collision would be immense, generating massive shock waves that would ripple through the planet and shatter everything in their path. The impact would also result in a massive explosion that would send debris hurtling off into space, potentially colliding with other planets and wreaking havoc across the solar system. The resulting cataclysm would put an end to all life as we know it on Earth, leaving behind only a shattered and barren husk. The destruction of the Earth would have long-term consequences on the rest of the solar system. The debris from the collision or explosion would create an immense amount of space debris, which could collide with other planets and cause further destruction. The loss of the Earth's gravitational pull would also disrupt the orbits of the other planets, leading to possible collisions or a complete reconfiguration of the solar system. In the end, the destruction of the Earth would be a catastrophic event that would have ripple effects across the entire universe. The disappearance of the Sun would be a catastrophic event for life on Earth. The immediate darkness and sudden drop in temperature would lead to the death of almost all living organisms. Without the Sun's gravitational pull, our planet would be sent careening through space, either crashing into other planets or hurtling out into the cold and vast expanse of the universe. While we don't have to worry about the Sun disappearing anytime soon, it's important to remember the incredible impact it has on our planet and to appreciate the beauty and complexity of the solar system we inhabit.